as we welcome in our 1320 Kings insider and creator of the Kings Beat, our man James Ham. Ham, just a couple of days away from the start of the season. How you feeling, man?
Feeling pretty good. I think there's a lot of question marks. We don't know if Kevin Huerter or Keegan Murray will be available on opening night.
Yeah.
This is a fun group of guys that are motivated and excited to be there and excited to get this thing underway.
Anything you can add regarding Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray? We did play the sound that you posted with Mike Brown today. I'm not sure if there was anything offered at any other time in practice or later on in that media scrum. I just my impressions from someone who just played your video and heard the sound, it doesn't sound like Keegan Murray is playing on Wednesday. But again, is there any more you can add to that?
Yeah, Keegan's going to need 2 negative tests from what I know before he can clear protocol, and then he'll have to get back on the court. It's kind of a strange situation. So we know he got sick. I think it was on Tuesday. He wasn't available for the game on Wednesday. He was back at practice on Thursday, and then Friday morning, we got the word that he wasn't going to be available. Even Thursday afternoon, like during that practice, I kind of heard through the grapevine that there was a possibility that he wouldn't be available on Friday as well. Then Saturday comes around and we get the official word that he's in protocol. Sunday's in protocol, Monday's in protocol. So look, I don't think we have any idea like at what point he's going to clear, and there isn't a lot of clarity right now from the NBA on what exactly protocol is in the 2022-23 season. Right. So we're kind of juggling here and trying to figure it out, but I would expect that the Kings want him to practice at least one day. Even though, you know what, like if he's cleared like tonight or tomorrow and they can at least get him out there a little bit, just get him some run, I think that would be fine. They can run him out there for limited minutes on opening night. But like he's got to clear first. And I know from my own experience, it took me...
You had a record setter.
Yeah, it took me like almost 10 days to clear protocol. Like I know on day 8, I like took another test and it looked like someone took a Sharpie to mark that I was positive. And it's kind of weird the way that these things are working right now. Even the fact that he started having symptoms probably on Tuesday, maybe even Monday night, and how long it's taken. So we're going to have to wait and see. And I think this is like the standard with everyone in the world at this point. We have no idea what's going on with this thing. It changes from one day to the next, from one strand to the next. And again, the league has to kind of figure out what it is they want to do with COVID and like when are players safe to play? Do you need a negative test? Do you not? Is it just a matter of time, like 5 days and you're cleared to go back? I think we're going to have to wait and see here.
Yeah. It's America, James. Just roll with it.
Just roll with it.
That's the theme to COVID. Just roll with it.
Well, I'll point this out too. Like as media, we have to have the new booster. Like if you're going to be around the players, you either have to test negative like every 3 days, or you have to go in and get the new shot for the variants, right? And so I don't think they have that same exact thing for the players. So I think it's kind of interesting that as media, we could be around players that actually pass it to us as opposed to the other way. But, all it takes is one media member to pass it to a team and, we won't hear the end of it. So it's kind of a weird dynamic that we're dealing with. And as far as Huerter, Huerter is there. He was at practice on Saturday. Let me think. He was at shoot around on Friday. He was at practice on Thursday after like stepping on someone's foot. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that there's a good chance that he could be back at practice tomorrow and ready for opening night. But Mike Brown was pretty clear, just like, we have no idea. Like, he's better today than he was on Saturday, but how much better, who knows? He's getting better. He's getting closer to a return, and we're going to have to see if he takes a step back or not.
James, with Keegan Murray possibly being out for opening night, one of the things that we kind of saw on Friday Is because we've seen him this preseason and we've been super impressed. Everybody has, thinking he's one of the best players on the team. But he wasn't able to go on Friday, and the Kings still beat the mess out of the Lakers. And that's something that we're just not necessarily used to, right? Where one of their best players, one of your top 3 or 4 players on your team being out, it will put so much of a strain on the rest of that roster. They usually weren't able to deal with it. Do you think that this team, based on the preseason, I guess only, is a team where if one guy goes down, Herter wasn't there on Friday either, and Malik Monk just stepped in and played well as well. Is that something that you think hopefully they've turned the corner on this year, where they have enough depth where if one of your top 3 or 4 guys is out, maybe you don't, for a game or two, maybe you don't miss a beat?
I think it's an interesting question, and like covering the league as long as I have, I think that there's a really interesting, like, you got to distinguish between what is depth and what is defined roles that allow for a next man up mentality, right? So personally, I believe Rick Adelman, one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game at dealing with loss on his roster, right? Like, again, the next man up mentality that he developed with the Kings, that he took to other places, was so stunning. I mean, people forget that, what was it, the 2003, the end of the 2002-3 season is when Chris Webber blew out his knee. He missed most of the next season, and they were the best team in basketball without Chris Webber. And, like, Rick Adelman went on to coach the Houston Rockets. They won like 20 or 21 games in a row at one point. And in like game 11, they lost Tracy McGrady. In game 12, they lost Yao Ming. And they just kept winning. And so what that is it's a culture that the next guy up understands what his role is. And the guys who are around those players, they understand that, like, look, you can't ask Scott Pollard to average 24 points a game like Chris Webber. So that means each of us got to average 2 more points per game to make up for that. And that's kind of the way that you have to build your team. And so while I would like to say that it has everything to do with the talent that you have and the depth that you have, depth, it's a good thing to have. And I think Mike talked about this today at practice. Depth is good in that you have versatility, that you can try different things when things aren't working, right? So if KZ Paul isn't working in the starting lineup, they can try Keegan Murray. They can try Chima Moneke. They can try Trey Lyles. They can try Chimezi Metu. They can try Rashawn Holmes. I mean, that's incredible that I can say that if your power forward isn't working, that you got 6 other options. You can even move Harrison Barnes to starting 4, and you can bring in Herter and have him start at the 3. But I think the bigger point is that each of those players have different looks that they can give you. So if, again, you're getting killed on the glass, maybe it's time for Trey Lyles. Maybe it's time for Chimezi Metu. If you need more 3-point shooting, again, Trey Lyles fits that. If you need energy, Chima Moneke might be that guy. If you need just an all-around very good player, then Keegan Murray is your guy. So I think that that's one good thing about what Mike Brown has. He has all kinds of depth, but it's more like the versatility of depth. Now, whether they can do the next man up mentality, that's gonna take a while to see. We're gonna have to, first of all, you got to go through an injury where someone's out long enough to kind of see how it works. But secondly, I think, you really don't know until it's crunch time and guys either show up or they don't. And this team has had that long, long history of not showing up against teams that are missing players or when they have some sort of adversity. And you got to see if that's still a function of what this team is.
How did we get here with KZ Okpala?
I don't know. I mean, to me, it's the craziest thing ever. It's not just KZ. I mean, how does Chima Moneke make an NBA roster? And this isn't like, I'm not trying to call Chima out. Like, look, Chima Moneke went to a junior college, transferred to UC Davis, which I'm a Davis guy. He's an Aggie like myself. But like then he went and he played in Europe, and we're not even in Spain. You played in
No,
France.
no.
Did we almost lock up?
That was as I mean,
Close.
it was right there. The hand was on its way down. There was a kick out. It was a false finish, a 313 false finish.
There we go.
Ooh, that was close. I don't think we've ever had two in the same day, so we could be clear from the ham freeze for the rest of the day.
Yeah, so like with Chima, I just think it's amazing. Like this is a guy who I like to call him self-made men in the NBA. Guys like Garrett Temple that played all over the place before he made it to the dance. Even guys like PJ Tucker that they had to fight to get in the league. And there's something to these guys, and there's also something to Chima's like personality and the way that he like shows up every day. And Harrison Barnes talked about it, just this joy that is Chima Monecki. And when he's in the gym, everyone knows he's in the gym. You hear him. He's noisy. He's fun. He's got a huge personality. And if you look at him and KZ Okpala, they're like completely counter to each other, except for when they're on the court. They're very similar on the court as far as like the defensive intensity and that kind of stuff. But off the court, you have one guy who just loves the media and another guy who doesn't seem to want anything to do with the media, and he's very uncomfortable with it. But like these guys could combine to really make a strong like sort of combination duo, if you will, that on one night to the next could really help this team out.
Yeah, we talked about it a number of different times before, and I've completely bought in to what KZ Okpala can be, specifically with the starting group. I love what he brings to the table, his versatility on the defensive end, and you've mentioned it a number of different times, and we saw it a little bit on Friday. If he can start hitting some open shots, and it doesn't have to be a lot, just one or two, like knock down the open shot to make people kind of respect it and think about leaving you completely wide open. It changes everything. It absolutely changes everything. And like I said, he doesn't have to, turn into somebody that's hitting 7 open shots a game. No, just hit 1 or 2 to make people think about it. Don't have them not have to play you like Tony Allen in the playoffs where you can be guarded with the center, and just hit 1 or 2. And that, I don't know if I want to say secures his starting spot. I don't know about that, but it'll go a long way into him continuing to have a prominent role on this team.
Yeah, De'Aaron talked about it today. Just exactly that. Like, just shoot, just let it fly. Don't hesitate, because if you're worried about it, if you're just that moment of hesitation, then you're not going to hit the shot. Just let it fly. That is what they're trying to promote to both KZ and Chima. And he even said Chima in practice today, like, caught fire. And it's like, he kept saying, like, see, look how much easier the game is for all of us when that is who you are. And it's going to take a little while for these guys to really figure it out and to really settle in. I mean, unfortunately for, like, KZ Okpala, this is his 4th year in the league. He barely played. It's something like 63 or 64 games in his career. Maybe it's 68. But like even his minutes are right around like 700 minutes over 3 years. That's nothing. I expect Keegan Murray to play 700 minutes in his first 30 games. And so it's really difficult to start to show people who and what you are in the league when you don't have that opportunity. And look, it may not last long. Then again, it could be like a defining player for the Kings. He could be their version of like Matisse Thybulle, but you just don't know until you see it in actuality. And I'll keep saying this. In order for him to work, number one, he's got to hit the 3. Number 2, De'Aaron Fox has to take that on himself too. He's got to hit the 3 ball. Sabonis, he needs to hit the 3 ball. Like if they want to have a defender in their starting lineup, someone who can really help them and carry the load for them, then they have to carry the load for him on the other end. They've got to be able to create the space to make him work and even create the space for him to be the cutter that he can be. And I think that's one thing too. Both Okpala and Monecki, they're absolutely tremendous cutters. And that just, if you have cutters all around, you need shooters and you need cutters around Sabonis. And that's the role that they can play. If they can hit the wide open shots in the corner, that's huge. That will open the spacing. But if they can also cut hard and be, in motion and active all game long, they can make an impact as well.
Yeah.
James, the line you used over the weekend over on thekingsbeat.com, which everybody should become a premium subscriber for. I believe we got a Kings Beat off the record happy hour coming up this week with Katie Christensen that you should be a part of. Only premium members get to be a part of that. I believe that Mike Brown trying to find joy within this group, and it kind of falls into line with some of the things that we hear about Mike Brown and kind of the way he portrays himself. But the one thing I thought about as I read that is, it's probably easy to talk about things like that and even find joy for this team right now. But going to a question that we've asked ourselves many times here in this offseason, what happens when they hit some adversity? Will they still be able to find that joy? Will they be able to find ways to kick out and to get themselves, back without, 3 losses becoming 5 or 5 losses becoming something much worse? Like, will they be able to handle that adversity and get back to, the way that they feel right now collectively as a team?
I've covered this team for so long, and I think one of the worst things is when you see the joy leave a player. And like, I know people, like, you play basketball for a living, you make X amount of money, but that doesn't matter. Like, we all play sports, or a good portion of us have. Like, when you're losing, it wears on you, and when you're losing 5 straight years, like De'Aaron Fox has, or 3.5 years, like Harrison Barnes has. I mean, that's the problem with Harrison Barnes. It's not like Harrison Barnes doesn't like Sacramento. It's not like he doesn't like, the training facility or the fans or anyone else. He doesn't like losing. And that's something that, like, when you watch the losses stack up and the joy leave the building, it's really hard, because we kind of know, like, when we're covering a team, that moment when it's over, like, there's no question. You can feel it. I mean, not everyone is intuitive and sees it or feels it, but, like, if you've been around long enough, you walk in the locker room and you feel that it's gone, and and it's a really hard thing. And I think one of the biggest challenges for Mike Brown is for the players who have been here a long time, which is, we're down to like 3 players who have been here a long time. It's only Fox, Barnes, and Holmes that are here more than 3 years, right? But when you have that, though, like their default setting as players has become to, like, not embrace the losing, but to, like, feel it and let it impact them and let the thing grow. And so you have to, like, get that out of the players somehow. And you've got to create an environment where they feel like that this isn't going to, like, that a 3-game losing streak isn't going to become 7 or 6 out of 8. Like, those are things where you just feel the snowball. And so I think that, like, this is a coach that is coming in with, like, this incredible, like, mindset and personality and smile and energy to him. But he's also brought in pieces that do that same thing. A guy like Chima that just changes the room. A guy like Keegan Murray that, like, nothing is going to faze that guy. Like, he's going to come in and do his job, and he's going to quietly go about doing his thing. But again, it's a different way of resetting the roster. A guy like Davion Mitchell that, when things go wrong, that guy just goes in the gym for an extra 2 hours a day. I mean, and that's how you start to wake up out of this. And hopefully you haven't done so much damage to some of the veteran players that they can't be part of that. And you just have to test it. You have to see how it goes.
I've got a quick surprise for everybody here. This is different. We've got tickets to give away.
Oh.
December 7th, Golden One Center, Adam Sandler. You heard that right. Adam Sandler is performing at the Golden One Center on December 7th. And we have got your tickets right now. Caller number 1,320 at 916-909-1320. And that's caller number 1,320 or 3. Caller number 3, 916-909-1320. We'll get you all set up again. Caller number 3, December 7th, Adam Sandler at the Golden One Center.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. That's a tough thing to just pick up and do. I know he's been doing, like, he's gone back to doing stand-up at different spots that he's like pretty regularly. But I remember hearing Eddie Murphy tell a story about how he tried to, he wanted to get back into stand-up, and he would go to the Comedy Store and all those spots in LA. He's just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, you have to live in this stuff every day. You have to write every day. You have to read every day. You have to be up on everything that has happened every day. And if you're not, you can't do this. And man, Adam Sandler stepping out there and doing it again. Golden One Center.
I got to be honest with you. I'm not like a huge Adam. I don't have a problem with Adam Sandler. He's fine. I watched, some of his movies. It's all good, whatever the case may be. I'm interested to see what this looks like. I absolutely would be interested to see what Adam Sandler's stand-up tour would look like.
Probably a lot of singing.
Yeah, have you ever listened to his comedy albums? They're incredible. Like, his old comedy stuff is absolutely spectacular. It's more like, there is a lot of singing, but I think it'll be more like variety show type deal. Like, Martin Short and Steve Martin go around on tour and they do a bunch of different things. But Adam Sandler, he was a SNL guy forever. So I think it'll be fun.
Well,
different and appropriate.
Gotta be honest. I'm now less interested.
We need to get him some. We need to get him some D'Lo and Casey gear, because he'll probably do the whole tour with Dan Patrick shirts on. We need to get him some D'Lo and Casey gear to do 5X
D'Lo and Casey shirt and
at minimum, yeah,
shorts.
and that's the other great thing about Adam Sandler is he's probably going to do the show in basketball shorts and sneakers. Like, he'll just come straight from a pickup game that he had with whatever members of the Kings are around, and he'll just come out and, oh guys, I got to go do the show. I don't have time to shower. I'm just going to walk out with the towel on my shoulder and go do the show.
It's got to be good, because he's got to make us forget 8 of the 10 movies he did for Netflix that were just so bad that you couldn't even watch them, and you want your hour, and they got down to an hour and 20 minutes. I want my hour and 20 minutes back. I don't even know how you stretched it out that long. He made a lot of bad movies.
I think the last Adam Sandler movie I watched was, and I'm in the minority with this one, so whatever, was the Uncut Gems movie.
Oh, I didn't like it at all.
Thank you. I did not like it.
And
I knew what it was. It's not like I wasn't expecting Happy Gilmore. I knew he was playing a different role. I think part of the reason I didn't like that movie is, oh, you've got to see this. It's Adam Sandler's most incredible role. I feel like this movie started and the plot was halfway through, in the first scene. What the hell is happening right now? Yeah. I didn't like it.
I think you were hoping that what happen the whole time. Right. The anxiety that they kind of put you through, and the frustration, and how you wanted to you're like, well, I think I know how this is going to end, and I think I have to stick around to make sure it does happen that way. So I won't spoil it, but the one thing he did do, the basketball movie, was really good.
Oh, that's right. That was good. I saw that. That's the Ant-Man movie. Oh yeah, that was good. I forgot about that.
That's what I was about to say. He bounced back. Yeah,
that was good.
You gotta get some credit for that.
Yeah, but he just Zohan was
so
bad.
Many movies. Ugh. He makes so many movies. He made He made 6 movies in 2020. We were all trapped at home, and Adam Sandler's just out there cranking out films.
I think he had a specific number of movies he had to make for Netflix, and of those, almost every single one of them was just bad. Even the Jennifer Aniston one, I think that was him. Where they did basic murder mystery. Yeah, none of it was good. Yeah,
I don't like the way this is sounding for.
Well, you won't believe this, James. There's a Murder Mystery 2 coming out.
Oh, come on
Netflix. God, he must have signed. He must have signed a 50 movie deal with Netflix.
Yeah, some of them were bad. Yeah.
The first time I saw Adam Sandler, anybody remember? Anybody? Bueller? Oh, yeah. We're not allowed to talk about it anymore. He was on the Cosby Show.
Oh.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
We're not allowed to talk about that anymore. But he was definitely on the Cosby Show. Him and Cockroach. We'll come back. We'll get back to talking Kings basketball here with James Ham of the Kings Beat, our Kings Insider. We're just a couple of days away from the start of the regular season, and we'll get you prepared for that as Dylan and Casey roll along here on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320. Clear. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Oh, man. Oh, that's true. Katie's allowed to talk about it, which is the all-time. That was an all-timer.
Yeah.
Might be my favorite Katie Christensen moment ever.
Yeah. I'm excited to get her on the happy hour, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it this Thursday? When is it?
It's this Thursday. Yeah,
Yeah.
from 5:30 to 7:30. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I
I'm sure
gotta-
she's got some good Diana Taurasi stories.
See, I didn't even think about that. I'll mix in some of that. Well, I'm sure she has some Robert Sarver stories. So, yeah, she worked for them after she left Sacramento.
Okay.
She worked for their digital team.
Okay. Did she do I feel like she did TV. Maybe she did TV for the Mercury.
She did not like full digital, but like sort of sideline and other stuff. Yeah.
Bought them in
I did watch.
2004. Wow. Yeah, I guess he's been the owner for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, the Adam Sandler thing's interesting. That should at least be fun. I don't know.
I think there's another big comedy show coming that I don't think we can announce yet. I'll take a quick Google and see if it's out there. It's on our internal sheet, but it's a big one, and I believe it's at the Golden One Center, and it doesn't look like it's announced yet. I don't know when the announcement. I could check the email and see when the announcement time is. But yeah, they got comedy shows rolling through here.
Yeah.
Are you guys both big comedy show guys? Like,
No,
before,
I'm not.
I'm like,
I've been to so many of them. Yeah, I mean, I like comedy shows.
See, I haven't been to a lot of them, but we have a guy here in Lake of the Pines who used to be a stand-up and he used to do emceeing. So he'll bring up a bunch of his comedians, and we have comedy night here in the lake, which is pretty spectacular.
I just looked; it's still pending approval.
Oh, boo!
So no announcement yet, but it fits our show a little more than Adam Sandler does.
hello.
I will leave it at that.
Let's see.
Interesting.
I'm trying to see. I don't see it.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh.
What's the date of the email?
That's funny.
One hosted perhaps the greatest comedy special in history.
Oh.
The other, well, the other
Oh, never mind.
hosted.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. It's all good. It's all good. I just saw it.
Okay.
Well, what's the date on the email? What was that?
James, I'm just gonna text you.
That'd be crazy.
Gallagher's brother.
Okay.
Kevin Hart was announced. Yep, he's here.
Boy, Lake Show, like you're really obsessed with this. Yes, I just talked about I did see Uncut Gems, and I was excited when what happened at the end happened. So yes.
I just thought that. Oh, Kevin Garnett was so good. Why? He was Kevin Garnett. Like he literally played Kevin Garnett in a movie.
That's like saying that Snoop Dogg is really good. It just plays he just plays Snoop Dogg. Like it is what it is.
Well, he was really good at Baby Boy.
Oh, they absolutely did. Hey guys, hit the thumbs up, please. We are approaching quick refresh.
We got a ton.
Yeah,
of
we're
thumbs up.
approaching 200. We got to be 200 plus every day now. Now it's basketball time. Come on now.
Yeah.
We got to be at minimum 200 plus every day.
We broke 200 on the pod the other night. Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, live stream the live version of your pod was cooking.
Yeah. We're gonna do a live version tonight at 9:00 too.
Oh man, wait a minute.
It's
We're
lit.
coming back. Hang on. The Kings Beat After Dark tonight. Live version of the Kings Beat podcast with Sean Cunningham, Brendan Nunez, and of course our 1320 Kings insider James Ham. I'll watch it in the morning. But everybody else who doesn't go to bed early can watch that beginning at 9:00. Make sure you head over to YouTube and search out the Kings Beat channel. Hit the subscribe buttons there. James, I guess the simplest way of asking is how real do you think this defense we saw this preseason was?
Yeah, it has to be tested. Like it's one thing to do it against like I don't even know what that trash was the Lakers put out there in the last half. It's one thing to show defense against 6 guys that you're surprised even made a preseason roster. And I would say the same thing. Like I got that vibe from Portland a couple of times where you're like, holy cow, is this when we go deep here? Well, let's just be honest. The Kings spent money to make sure that their 20-man roster was solid all the way to number 20. And not a lot of these other teams did. And it showed. It showed a lot. So, we have to see, it can't just be 5 games. It's got to be 65, 70 games out of the 82 where they kind of set themselves up and rely on their defense as much as they do their offense. And I know Harrison Barnes talked about this, just about how, we have to make sure that there's a base to fall back on, that when things go wrong and when shots aren't falling, that we can rely on our defense to get us through. If we got to eke out a 1 or 2 point or a 3 point win, because we play defense, not because we hit 23s, that's great. And then I think I'll point this out too. Like Kenny asked about it earlier about, or you mentioned it earlier about not having Herter, not having Keegan Murray in the preseason game against the Lakers. They hit 23s without Herter and Murray. And I mean, you can basically just write in pen like 6 threes a game from those guys combined. Like a minimum, I would think. And that's huge. If you can go into a game and just everyone's moving the ball, everyone's engaged, good offense is going to make for a much better defense. And so I do think that there are a lot of things to like about what we're seeing so far. They're a much better rebounding team, like what we talked about. Like all these things tie in together. And so do I think that they're going to be a lockdown defensive team? No, but if you're better in every single one of the other aspects of the game, if your offense is more efficient, if you're a better rebounding team, then it just gives you a chance on the other end. And I don't think that they've given themselves a chance for a few years.
So it's interesting you say that, James, because I'm with you, right, with the 3-point shooting, and I've thrown out the number I don't think they'll shoot make 20 a night, but if they made 15 to 17, that I could see them being around that range. Well, somebody in the chat, they brought it up and they said the league leader last year was 14 a night, making 14 a night. It was Minnesota Timberwolves. So 15 to 17 would be way past.
Outlandish.
Yeah. So, but I mean, is it conceivable, in your opinion, that this could be one of the top 3-point teams in the league this year, as far as like made threes a night? Like, obviously, it would be 15, but I mean, 13 to 15 a night made?
Yeah, I think it's totally possible. This team is built to do that. I mean, really, they are. And it's not just that you have the shooters. That's one thing. That's one part of it. You have an elite guard at breaking down the defense who feeds shooters, and you have an elite passing big man. So I'll even point this out. Like, was it Friday night? That's the last preseason game, right? We had this weird malfunction where the NBA stats didn't work at all. It was horribly frustrating. But we had tallied in the first half, and I knew that there were 10 threes hit in the first half. So in the second half, we started tallying, and I started going through them in my head. I remember Davion hit 2. I remember Trey Lyles. Davion hit 2, I think, near the end of the third. Trey Lyles hit 2. And then I remember Keon Ellis hitting 3. And then I remember Sam Merrill hitting 1. And then there was, Dellavedova hit 1. So I'm like, okay, I'm at 19 threes without even, like, I know there had to have been more. And I wasn't even paying attention really for the first like 5 or 6 minutes to that stat to see if any of the starters had hit any. So anyway, like when I opened up the box score this morning, because it is there now, they went back and redid the stats for the whole for that Friday night game. I was shocked. I didn't know that De'Aaron Fox had 21 points, and it was like an effortless 21 points. Sabonis, I think 10 points, 9 assists, 12 rebounds.
Yep. Like,
absolutely stunning that guy in a preseason game without 2 of his best shooters had 9 assists. So these are stats where you're starting to look at the 3-point shooting and I'll even say the rebounding. I think they can be an elite 3-point shooting team, and I think they can be an elite rebounding team. And if you can do those 2 things, this team has a shot. They have a shot to be like really good. Not like 1, 2, 3 seed good, but they've got a shot to be like a team that shocks everybody if you can do those 2 things. And I think the biggest thing is that Mike Brown is coming from a Warriors system where we're seeing this very distinct style of offense, right? All the way through camp, we're seeing this motion offense where they're starting to learn the wrinkles of this motion offense. And then I'm pretty sure in the last 2 practices, they've installed a bunch of other play sets that they hadn't had before. But the goal was to get through preseason working on this new style, get this new style ingrained in your head. And now we're going to give you like 5 or 6 different pick and roll variations with different 2-man tandems that you can use, or they're going to give them something other than what we've already seen. And that's where I think this thing can really take off, when we start like the basic flow of the offense and how everybody's moving, everybody's cutting, the cuts are hard, everyone's on top of everybody, everyone can bring the ball up the court. Like we start piecing all these things together, and I think they can be a like shockingly intriguing team this season.
Trey Lyles has a pretty certified spot in this rotation, doesn't he?
I don't know.
Let me be a better journalist. Does Trey Lyles have a certified spot? Does he have a certified spot in this rotation?
I thought you were going to hit me with a 2-part.
No, I never do that. His role in the preseason was just so weird. Like, he had the second half where he started, and I think he started a game. The first one Keegan missed, and it was like he played really well Friday, but and I don't mean this not to disparage. Trey Lyles played really well. Everybody played really well on Friday, and he's one that I just haven't really been able to. I don't know what Mike wants from him.
Let's just start at the beginning, because we did this early on. We know right now Fox, Davion Mitchell, Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter all have a role. We know that Harrison Barnes has a role. We know that Sabonis and Rashawn Holmes are in the rotation. We know that Keegan Murray's in the rotation. 8 players.
We're sure about Rashawn.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
I'm just asking questions.
No, it's okay. It's
Broadcast
okay.
journalist, you know.
So we're at 8. We're at 8. Now, we haven't said KZ Okpala's name, right? So now we're at 9. We haven't said Terrence Davis. We haven't said Chuma Moneke. We're talking about Trey Lyles. So, like, look, this is going to be an 8.5, 9.5 man, 9.5, maybe 10-man rotation, but I don't buy a 10-man rotation. Like, it's going to be tight. So I think Trey Lyles deserves a shot. But, you know, if Keegan Murray's healthy, what does that mean for Trey Lyles? And that's a problem. And if Kevin Huerter's healthy, like, he's going to play 30 minutes a night. Malik Monk's going to play 24 minutes a night. I think we've already seen Davion Mitchell might not play 20 minutes a night, at least early.
Wow.
We've already seen it, right? Like in preseason, we've already seen it that he's in there for a few minutes and then it's right back to Fox. So if he's Fox's backup, just like if Rashawn Holmes is Sabonis's backup, if they're not mixing and matching those guys with their counterpart, with their starter, then those guys are 14 to 16 minutes a night. Not even that.
Yeah.
12 to 14 minutes tops. And that's tough. So where are you going to find extra minutes? And that's where, like, Mike Brown is up against it because he just found a bunch of minutes with KZ Okpala. And at the end of the day, if the thing happens that happened last year with this team where everyone was confused as to why Mo Harkless was playing, and then we got to, like, his 30th start, and the Kings were, like, 15-15 in games that he started, and for a team that's, like, 12 games under 500, how is that possible? I think we're going to have to see, like, you know, Mike Brown is going to play the numbers. If KZ Okpala, if they're winning, or if they're plus minus when KZ Okpala is off the charts, he's going to keep playing. And so like that other door might not open for someone else. It's interesting.
I feel like my man TD's in a really tough spot.
I agree. And the crazy thing about it with him, and tell me if you feel differently. I maybe I'm wrong on this one, but I feel like in the preseason he's played fine. He's had ups and downs for sure. That's the type of player he is. But you think about Friday night, like he was running a point a little bit out there, and I thought he was fine. He would end up 14 points, 5 of 10 from the field. I thought he was active defensively. Yeah, he's in a tough spot, and it's not even like he's played his way into that spot, right? It's just the nature of the beast, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll even take it this way. Like, there's a possibility he's the opening night starter. If Huerter can't go.
So that was you brought that up with Mike Brown. That's interesting.
I did. Like I said, what does it mean? Are you going to leave Malik Monk with the second unit, or are you going to put him with the starters? And I mean, because of the Fox and Monk connection, I think that there's a higher likelihood that he just puts Monk in the starting lineup. And also, I think because Terrence Davis and Malik Monk, in a lot of instances, are like they're interchangeable. Like they really are very similar style of player. And so, like, look, I think there's a good chance that Terrence Davis could be an opening night starter or a rotational player on opening night and then not play for a while. Like, we just don't know. It depends on Huerter's health, number one. And then it really does depend on, you know, Keegan Murray, how long it takes him to get out. And then from one night to the next, you know, like I know Brendan at practice today had asked Mike Brown about like sort of this idea that he was going to switch out his power forwards all the time. And he said, you know what, let's hold off and wait and see what I do. Like, give me like 5 or 10 games to see if I actually do switch out guys or not, because I might not. And so that was like pretty telling.
Brandon again, pissing everybody off with his questions.
Getting everyone angry.
Nunez.
I could see Mike like every day showing up to the game. Well, you see that? I didn't switch out the power forward spot, Brandon Nunez. Yeah, so I think it's interesting. Like, they've got a lot of like intriguing things that they can do. It's a puzzle, and Mike Brown is going to be trying to figure out how all the pieces fit together for a while. That's just the nature of the beast, especially as a new coach with a team. But like, the one good thing about him is that he has the experience. 31 years in the league. This is his 9th season as a head coach. Like, he can see these things. He knows what, like, the possibilities are, where that's what I'll keep coming back to the fact that I don't think Chauncey Billups and, certainly Darvin Ham, this is his first time running his own show. Yeah. Like, they don't have the experience to understand when it's going. And I'll even say this, I don't like either of their rosters. No. I don't. Like, I don't love either of their rosters. And, like, he doesn't have that versatility that we talked about earlier about, if you're not getting enough of something, Mike Brown's got something different on his bench he can throw at you. Mm-hmm. And kind of like he knows what he has. And then I brought this up to Fox today. Like, we talked about this the other day on the radio, how, like, his rookie season, he was one of 5 rookies on the roster. And then they also had drafted 3 rookies a year before in Papianis, Malachi Richardson, and Scala Bicier, and then they had traded for Buddy during the season as a rookie. So they had, in his first season, they had 9 first and second year players. Mm. That's crazy. Like, there's no way to win when nobody knows who they are and what they are in the league. That's just not the case with this year's roster. You don't have to look around the room and think, I don't know what that guy's supposed to do, or he doesn't know who he's going to be yet. Like, even the guys that you're bringing in, like Achima Moneke, he's 26 years old. That dude knows exactly what his job is. Go in there and mess with LeBron and then try to, like, catch a body. Go in there and, like, catch a body on a rebound, catch a body, like, hammering a ball down. Go in there and fight and give us energy. Like, KZ Okpala, go in there and play defense. Shut down the best player they have. Okay, I got it. But then go around the regular rotation. Like, Davion Mitchell knows what his role is. It's to stop everybody. It's to do some inline drives. It's to hit wide open shots. Kevin Huerter, same thing,
But see, that's kind of what I was talking to Damien about, and he agreed. We were in agreement with this. Is they have guys that are focused and understand being a star in your role, and that's, we were talking about KZ Okpala and Moneke, and why they're possibly valuable on this team, and what Mike Brown has preached to this guy. The coaching staff has preached to these guys. Monty McNair brought them in, and then buying in. Man, KZ, Moneke, you guys might have 3 shot attempts combined in a game, but you're still able to impact the game. You're still able to go out there and be the best defender you be, get a couple offensive rebounds, help defense, things of that nature. And not only do that, but be okay with it. So many guys, they may do it begrudgingly, or they just won't do it at all. These guys, they understand being a star in your role, and I think that's going to bode well for this team in a major way.
Yeah, but I'll add this. I think I can say the same thing about Davion. I can say the same thing about Malik Monk. I can say the same thing about Kevin Huerter. I can say the same thing about Harrison Barnes. Even Rashawn Holmes. Rashawn Holmes knows play hard defense, roll to the rim hard, rebound. Those are, he knows what his role is. And so I think this is one of the first times I've seen where you do have so many defined roles. I mean, Trey Lyles, when he walks on the floor, he's not out there looking for 20. He knows exactly who and what he's supposed to be. If he's open, he shoots it. If he can, he's got to go get the rebound. He's got to stay in front of his man. Like, there are very specific things these guys know they have to do. And so, like, look, I really do think it's that Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox did a really nice job of putting together, like, a pretty stable roster for Mike Brown to work with. I still think that, they need more talent. That's just, it is what it is, Like, if you could add, like, an all-star talent at name that position, it still would help this team, like, take them from, again, from that, like, 6 to 11 range to maybe a 4 to 8 range where you're solidifying yourself. But, I still like the direction that they're going.
Do we know, I don't want this to come across as dramatic, but do we know how, like, Keegan's feeling? I know he phoned into the fan fest yesterday, and it all seemed good there, but I'm thinking about Rashawn, who had a non-COVID related illness, but did not feel great. Like, when he returned, he had the stomach issue, and even when he came back, it wasn't the best, and he was kind of battling through practice. Do we know Do we know what state of health and safety protocols Keegan is in? Is he in the James Ham state or the no, he'll be fine state?
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, I wasn't that sick, but I certainly, like, 8 days in, I know I got winded walking upstairs. Like, it just depends on how you're doing. Like, I even remember I had people complaining in the chatty house and on the podcast because I was breathing into the mic too hard.
I remember that.
And it's like, man, like, I'm literally
Get over
like,
it, Ham. Stop
can't
breathing into the microphone.
I can't give it to you through the microphone, but like, maybe you should put a mask on because maybe you deserve it in that case. Like, wow, you're gonna go at me because I'm breathing heavy. Like, I get it, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like,
funny.
we'll have to see how he's doing. We don't know, and like, again, they can't confirm that he actually has COVID.
Sure, yeah, I realize that.
I mean, of course, they are not writing off as a non-COVID related illness anymore. It's now a health and safety protocol. Sorry, we can't talk about it. So I get it.
That's so weird. Like, when are we going to get past this? Like, it's just it's out there. Like, we've got to be able to address this. And he is everyone's darling rookie. We need to know that he's okay. Go subscribe to the Kings Beat newsletter. Subscribe to the Kings Beat podcast. Subscribe to the Kings Beat YouTube channel. There will be a live edition of the Kings Beat podcast tonight.